Hey guys, and thank you for joining Criminality Online. And I am your host, The Crime Dame. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. And if you're tuning in or if you see this on the restream, please hit like and think about subscribing to the channel. I plan on doing a lot of interesting true crime topics on the show. And tonight's topic, I got this idea because of a recent story. Well, it's not really a recent story. The story has been ongoing for about 3 or 4 years, and that story is about Shanga Hankerson. He is the son of legendary soul singer Gladys Knight. And if you haven't heard, he has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for tax issues. He was not paying the payroll taxes for the employees at the restaurant. And also, Gladys Knight sued him to get her name off the all of the legal documents for the restaurants. So that's the story that we're going to be going over tonight. So just let me start by giving you a background on the story and how this issue came to be. So once again, like I said, the story is about Shanga Hankerson. He is the son of legendary singer Gladys Knight, and also his dad's name is Barry Hankerson. He is that's Gladys Knight's. I think he was her second husband, and he is the uncle of the late singer Aaliyah. So he and Aaliyah would have been first cousins. So this is how the story began. After a bizarre saga involving Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles restaurants, the legendary singer's son, Shanga Hankerson, 45, has been sentenced to serve 2 years in prison after he failed to withhold payroll taxes for his restaurants. Previously, Shanga owned 4 locations of Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles in Georgia and Washington, D.C. According to court documents, Shanga opened his first restaurant, Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles, in Atlanta in 1997. Over the next several years, he ended up opening at least 3 more locations in Georgia and Washington, D.C. However, um, things start taking a turn for the worse back in 2016. As part of being the boss of the popular restaurant, he was required to withhold payroll taxes from his employees' gross pay. But he didn't do it, and now he's paying the price for it. Hankerson willfully, word here being willfully, which means, of course, that he did not pay the taxes, and he was aware it wasn't like a payroll mistake or anything like that. He intentionally did not pay the taxes for many years, said U.S. Attorney Kurt Kurt Erskine. Payroll taxes fund social insurance programs, including Social Security and Medicare, and are large sources of revenue for the federal government. Employers who fail to comply with their legal obligations will be held accountable. So that's what they held him accountable for, because he willfully did not pay the payroll taxes. While ownership of a well-known restaurant in our community has its perks, it also comes with great responsibility, says IRS Criminal Investigation Special Agent in charge, James E. Dorsey. Paying taxes is a way to give back to the community, but unfortunately, Hankerson chose to use those funds for other means. Now, some of those other means that he supposedly, or should I say, that he did not pay, um, let me just say, allegedly did not pay. Some of the reasons that he allegedly did not pay, that he was spending the money on other other things. And some of those things that he was allegedly accused of spending the money on, which, let's see, let me go to the story here. Let me pull this story up. Give me a second here. He allegedly was accused of spending money on other things than paying the taxes on. They said he spent it on sex, pot, and other frivolous things other than paying for his taxes. So there was also a lot of complaints from the employees that the payroll checks that they received from the business bounced, and the employees also received several, you know, bank fees that they could not afford because their payroll checks kept bouncing. And also, Auntie Gladys, that she's known to be called by several people who love her, which one would be myself. I love me some Auntie Gladys. So some of Gladys ended up suing him because she said she accused him of extorting and blackmailing her by threatening to make false claims that she has dementia and Alzheimer's disease, according to a filing in U.S. District Court in Atlanta. Knight filed suit against her son, Shanga Hankerson, to get her name removed from Gladys Knight's chicken and waffle restaurants because she thinks her recent troubles were hurting her reputation. So that's another big part of this story, and a sad part of the story as well, because she's worked for Gladys Knight has been in this business for over 60 years. She's been performing and singing since she was a little girl. I mean, I've remember seeing pictures, um, of her years ago from a little girl when she was interviewed by certain people after performances. So she's been in this business for a long time, like almost a greater part of her life she's been performing. So she's worked very hard to build up her reputation and to build her name out here in these streets. For her son to come along and use her name and misuse money and do all kind of frivolous things other than taking care of his business and taking care of his employees. So that's why she sued him to get her name off the business. And it's kind of sad if you think about it. And that's, why I decided to do the story, because and call it Lost Legacy, because, you know, you you perform in this business all your life, and you want to build up a business, and you give the business to your son, you put it in your son's hands, and they end up you know having to go to jail for not handling the business. And this could have been something that he could have, I don't know if he has children, but this could have been something that could have gone on for years and years, and been like a dynasty in the restaurant world, if he would have taken care of what he needed to take care of, and carry on the family legacy. So it's just really sad also when you think about it, that he did not do this. So that's why she ended up having to sue her own son to get her name off the business. So now he was just sentenced a few days ago, um, and he has to pay a big amount of restitution. So the restitution that he's going to have to pay back, which I can't read this number, so if y'all want to try to read it, you can. So this is the number that he has to pay back in restitution after he serves his sentence. So it's over $1 million. So I don't know how he's going to pay that back once he gets a record and everything. Once he is released, he, I'm sure, is not going to be able to work in any position where he has to handle money. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get this money from his mom or his other relatives to help him pay this back, but he's definitely going to have to pay this money back. And the federal government, they're going to get their money one way or the other. So he's going to have to do something when he gets out to try to pay this money back. So that's the amount that he needs to pay back in restitution. So, U.S. District Judge Michael L. Brown sentenced Shanga to 2 years in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and he was ordered to pay, once again, this amount is that he's going to have to pay back in restitution once he's released. The drama began also to unfold when the family started fighting after accusations of theft, worker complaints, and there were even rumors that Shanga used restaurant money for sex parties and marijuana. Okay. So once again, allegedly, because up until this point, I had never heard any of those stories. But allegedly, this is what he was spending the money on. In June 2016, the Georgia Department of Revenue shut down 3 restaurant locations due to theft charges against Shanga. He was accused of stealing $650,000 in state sales and withholding taxes, which after penalties and interest totaled more than $1 million. He was jailed and then released on $20,000 bond from Clayton County Jail, and that's when Gladys began to distance herself from the restaurants. In 2017, Gladys Knight won a legal battle to cut ties with the restaurant, and her son was ordered to stop using her name, likeness, and memorabilia. She filed a lawsuit to have her name removed because it was hurting her reputation. So that was part of the legal world woes of Gladys, between Gladys and her son. And also, if you think about it, I'm sure she was hesitant, being a mom, um, to actually have to go to court and sue her own son. I guess it came down a thing between being business and personal, and she chose business over personal because, like I said earlier, she's been working for a long time, and she deserves to have her name cleared of all of this mess. Because normally when people, and if you listen to any of the stories, or if you pull up any of the stories about him or Google his name, it always comes up Gladys Knight's son. That's pretty much the first thing that you see before they even get into the story. They always say Gladys Knight's son. So she's always going to be associated with him and his wrongdoing when she had nothing to do with what he was doing. So, I've visited her restaurants many times, and in all the time that I have visited, I never knew that she wasn't really a part of the business. I guess she just lent her name because that was her son, and she wanted to help him get started in the business. So she let him use her name to get a leg up, and look at what he did. So I guess that's just like a lesson learned when you try to help out a family member. So, also, to make matters worse, Shanga, called himself being a financial advisor. Back last year in 2020, in December 2020, he posted on his Instagram page. So let me pull this up, the post that he made. So this is the post that he had on Instagram, and it was under his Instagram profile, Shanga Hankerson. And this is the what the post said. Need to improve your credit? Well, say no more. Understand your credit score, develop good credit, get good interest rates. We help remove bankruptcies, child support, collection accounts, evictions, foreclosures, student loans, identity theft, judgments, medical bills, public records, repossessions, and tax liens. That's ironic. Tax liens. We can fix it. And he has here the big picture, that big bald head of his, that big nugget head of his, financial consultant, and 1866 to fix me up. So there you go. So that was his post on Instagram last year, that he was saying that he was allegedly a financial consultant. So the question that I have here, the main question that I have here, I also posted, um, I also posted on the channel a question like, do you think you can trust your family members to carry on or run the family business if you pass or if you decide to retire? So let me see if I can pull that poll up. I'll pull up the poll. Okay, I don't know how to pull up the poll. Okay, so I have to pull up the results from the poll a little bit later. So my first question, and that was the question I just asked, can you trust your family to run the family business when you pass or retire? So I'm just interested to know what y'all's answer would be for that. Number one. So if you watch this on a replay, just answer that question for me. Let me know if you think you would be able to trust your family members to run the business after you pass. And the second question I'd like to pose to you would be, could you sue one of your family members? Nothing personal. This is just business. So do you think that you would be able to sue, I guess, like one of your children, like Gladys had to sue her son? And also, I remember a few years ago, Miss Robbie with Welcome to Sweetie Pie, she sued her son for pretty much the same reason, to take her name off all the professional paperwork and everything, because he was pretty much doing the same thing. He was opening businesses faster than they were building up, and she was telling him, hey, you need to just take it slow, and just wait till one of the businesses build up before you try to open up something else. And he didn't listen, and he did it anyway, so she had to end up suing him. So I would just also like to know is, could you sue one of your family members? Nothing personal. This is just business. Okay. And my next question, are you or would you ever go into business with a family member or friend? The cliche has always been family and friends are the worst people that you can go into business with. And I guess for obvious reasons, because sometimes if you go into business with one of your relatives, they they send to want, I guess, want to slack, because they feel like, hey, we're brothers, we're cousins, or you're my mom or my dad or whatever, and I shouldn't and I should be able to leave, come in late, leave early, and you're not supposed to say anything to them because we're family. It's not like you're just a regular boss that they don't have to answer to. We're family members, so I should be able to just dip out early, take a 3-hour lunch, have your friends drop by, and it's all good. So That's the next question. Are you or would you are you currently in business, or would you ever go into business with a family member or a friend? Okay. All right. So that's what I have for that right now. And like I said, it's just, I just feel like it's really sad that it had to come to this, because I've never, during all her years performing, all the years that I've been alive knowing about Gladys Knight, I've never really heard anything bad about her. You know, her in that era with Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, those ladies like that. You know, you never heard anything bad about them, like them fighting in the club, or fighting over men, or doing anything in public. I guess like the incident that happened years ago between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, when Cardi B took her shoe off and threw it at Nicki Minaj. You never heard anything like that about those ladies. They, at least publicly, they always appear to be very professional and all about their business. They always look good in public when you saw them. Well, except for when Patti LaBelle was going through her her Lady Marmalade days, when they were wearing those space outfits and things like that. But the ladies, they still, they kept it classy. They always kept it classy. And they always, like I said, they always look good when you saw them on television. And so you just never heard any drama about them. So I'm sure that this has to be like really breaking her heart, that she has to go through this. And like I said, that now whenever you think about Gladys Knight, you're always gonna people are pretty much gonna bring up that issue, like, hey, you remember when her son, she had to sue her son, and her son, they had to close up the family businesses. So that's the reason that I decided to do this particular story, because I love Gladys so much, and I just think it's a travesty that um, you build up a business and it just ends up having to go down because of your own son. And also, with us within the African American community, it seems like when we try to start a business, that we want to cut corners in trying to run the business, instead of being professional and having this business go on for decades, like some, I hate to say Caucasian businesses, or like, or should I insert other nationality type businesses, that they go on for maybe 30 years. They may have a restaurant that's been in business for 30 years. They may have let's say a plumbing company that's been in business for 30 years. That when we get a business going, we can't be professional with it. It has to be some drama and cutting corners and doing things that you shouldn't be doing in the business, to keep a family legacy going for the next generation, and a generation after that, and a generation after that. So just let me know exactly what you guys think about this story, and if you heard of it, and if so, what are your thoughts on the story? And what do you think? Do you think their relationship would be after her having to sue him, and after the business, taking a turn for the worse, after him slacking or whatever? To me, it just seems like him being, I guess, one of those celebrity kids, they're kind of ungrateful and spoiled. They've pretty much been given everything all their lives. He's traveled, I'm sure, to many different places because of the type of work that his mom and his dad did. And he's, was just kind of spoiled, that if someone who had maybe a mom or dad who did not have the type of finances that he was privy to, and they had to actually go out and get loans and do all type of other things, and work, two or three jobs while they're going to school to get their business started. Because I think I did read somewhere that he was given a certain amount of money to get the business started. Um, but they still didn't have that opportunity to be able to use their mom's name, who was a famous star that people loved for years, to make the business successful. So, I just wanted to know what you guys think. So once again, the questions that I'd like for you guys to answer in the comments. Can you trust your family to run the family business when you pass or retire? And the next one, could you sue one of your family members? Nothing personal. This is just business. And the last question, are you currently in business, or are you planning to go into business with one of your family members or friends? Or would you ever consider going into business with a family member or friend? And if you watch this on the restream, please don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so this has been Criminality Online, and I am the Crime Dame. And I want to thank you all. And please watch this on the restream and like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.